Hey everybody out there on YouTube. Um, just want to talk to you about something I've kind of been interested in discussing. I see a lot of it on YouTube where people talk about, gun rights and open carry and all that good stuff. I live in the Midwest, pretty much, very much a pretty conservative state next to a state that's very liberal. There's lots of laws about gun rights by communities, home associations, local city, state, county. It makes it kind of hard to figure out exactly what 100% your rights are. I've never had anybody ever tell me I couldn't. I do have a license to carry concealed. I've gone through the courses. I went and took another course. I have some other experiences of carrying a weapon when needed. So I don't consider myself an expert or a trainer about it. I just want to like to talk about when people talk about, well, you ought to carry open carry or or you carry if you got it, you don't use your, I said some people don't feel comfortable, and I'm not going to try to sell you on that guns are right, that you should have one. I've got a friend who actually, I thought was pretty normal about guns and was not a big issue about them. Actually had one. Someone broke into his house and he ended up getting hurt by that one. Didn't get killed, but he had it in a place that he wasn't easy to get to, and it wasn't something that he'd ever planned on someone breaking into his house. And he had a gun safe. I've got all my guns are at a safe, except for one weapon that I can get to. I've got it in a fingerprinted system that's biometric, that's basically loaded, and it's in a place that I can get to quickly if I need to, with the ammunition there in it, because it's inside a locked box. All the other weapons I have are in a safe. And I have two lockbox safes, and basically my ammunition's in one and my guns are in the other. These are weapons that I do not plan on needing to have out if I have a break-in. These are just my guns and my collection. I've had kids with them. I've taught kind of gun safety to them. I'm making sure exactly what they know, that this is not a toy, and that type of environment. I just, the more you see these kids out there on TV talking about, and they get in the games and stuff. I said a lot of it's just parenting, in the games, and and that goes back to who raises your kids. Is the TV raising your kids, or you raising your kids, or their friends raising them? Well, I hate to sound like a bust a bubble on people who always want to say, well, it's your parent. It's everybody's, to raise the kids. It's the old joke that it takes a village to raise a child. I think first should be your parents should be raising you, number one. Then the family will be there next. And I think society should come in there, but, do I think that we try to put a lot of pressure on, movie stars, sports athletes, to be these perfect people? They're human beings just like everybody else. They're going to do something silly. They're going to do something stupid. You can't expect them to be, an expert and this brave, John Wayne. John Wayne was never perfect. So don't put your faith in that, who you see on television or in the movie theater are going to be that great person. You want your kids to grow up to be them. I don't want my kids to grow up to be me. I want my kids to grow up to be better than me. If they grew up to be me, I'd be disappointed, or in that grand scheme. I want them to be better than me. And I know this kind of blog, this kind of video is just bouncing all over lots of things. But I've had so many people talk to me about, well, what do you think about gun rights? And then, you've got kids, you're going to have grandkids, what do you think about that? I said, I've tried to make sure those weapons are in a safe place. They're in a locked box. They're a combination for it. It's also got a bio reader on it, so there's just only two people that can get into that gun closet, and that's my wife and me. So I feel that's about as safe as I can make it and feel comfortable. Now, someone will say, well, if you were worried, then you don't have them. Well, that's true. But I don't want, I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe the Second Amendment's not for hunting. I believe it's exactly what it's for, to make sure that when your government goes in a wrong way, you have the right to take it back. That's what the Constitution was designed for. Do I condone, let's rise up and, go over against the government? No. I'm not even near that. But that's what the Second Amendment was set for. It was not made so that you can go out hunting. And even though at that point, yes, that was probably, if you wanted meat on the table, you, dad or son, or even mom went out with a flintlock and shot down a deer, went fishing, things like that. And that's one of those things. I like being out and doing sports and going out and camping and doing that things. And I don't want someone telling me what to do. There's nobody out there that wants to be told, well, you can't do this, well, you can't do that. Well, the same people who think that you shouldn't have guns, will turn around and say, well, I don't think that, they'll turn around and say, well, I don't believe abortion's right, or they'll have something that they're against, and other people are, it's like no one's going to be happy. Let's agree to disagree kind of statement is what I've told people. I'm tired of listening to people say that, it's kind of like the shooting in Chattanooga, and then this shooting, well, if a guy can get to these guns, and I said, it happens everywhere. Yes, they've talked about, well, the British don't have shootings there because they've outlawed guns. Well, they don't have, they don't have shootings because they don't have guns. Okay, you're right. But they do have violent crime. People stab people. People hit people with bats. Their crime rate is extremely high in other ways. Yes, shooting deaths are not. It's basically the same thing, and I'm not trying to say that a gun is the same as a bat or a knife. It's a weapon. And if you justify as a weapon, their crime rate with a weapon is just as bad as, from what I've been told, just as even as us in the United States. It's still a violent, it's still violence is there. It just gives them less tools to do it. Yes, you have better, but it's still violent crime. I said there's, violent death by a weapon is, probably less, because a gun is a very well-designed killing machine. And, I'm not sitting there saying that they're right, take the gun away and stuff like that. I don't believe that's how it should be. I think we should have the right to have it, and, if you're responsible and you have all the right things, and you haven't broke the law and you're allowed to have it, then you should have, if you want a weapon, have it. If you don't want it, don't. But don't tell someone that they can't have it. I don't understand why everybody here wants to tell you what you can and can't do. Well, I don't like you having a gun, so you should get rid of it. I don't like your opinion. Maybe you should get rid of it. But, it's the same thing. I don't like what you have to say. You don't like what I've got to say. And we'll just agree to disagree. But it seems like nobody in this country wants to do that anymore. They all want to complain that you have to agree with them, and we'll get along better. Well, if we were all sheep, we'd get along better too. And unfortunately, we're not all sheep. And, and that's how I look at it. So there's a lot of things I'd like to complain about and ramble off about and sound more and more like some crazy old man who's got nothing better to do but to complain. But I don't. I've kind of got to the point, I fight battles I can fight. And if I fight then the battle I think I can win. I've got teenage kids. I know what battles I can and can't fight. I can't fight every battle. If I fought every battle, I'd lose what's left of my hair and what's left of my sanity. And I think there's parents out there that believe that too when they look at it. But I think you should be allowed to have a weapon. You can have as many as you want, and if you follow the law and you want as many, you've got the law to get. You can have an automatic weapon, or you can buy a cannon. You've got the right. If you followed the law and done exactly what you're supposed to do to get it, then you've got it. Then there's more power to you. I'm not one of those people that think I need it. I don't need a tank. But it's just how things are. And people are just going to be complain about how things are, and they want to talk about, well, you're supposed to agree with us. Well, no, I don't. It's kind of another reason why I'm an independent. I agree with. It's okay. I agree with just about it. You can. I think you should have the right to do what you want to do. If it doesn't hurt somebody. That's kind of the big thing. A lot of people seem to think they've got to have a right to hurt somebody. Their rights oversee somebody. No, my rights don't oversee anybody. As long as my rights, I'm not interfering with you, you're not interfering with me, we're going to get along fine. I don't think someone's rights are higher than mine. And I don't think my rights are higher than anybody else's. I'm a human being. I was born in this country, and I've done I've done everything that I can be to be considered a patriot in that situation. And now all of a sudden patriot's become a bad name. And I hate to say that. They think you're some gun-toting crazo, or you want you don't believe the government's this. I said, no, it's not. That's not the definition of a patriot. But I hope that rambling makes some sense to somebody. And if it does, leave a like. If you don't, and you want to ask me some other questions about it, go ahead and say it. I don't care. I'm not going to sit there and be complaining about, that you don't like me. There's a lot of people out on this planet I know don't like me. There's a lot of people on this planet that like me. There's a lot of people that love me. They hate me. I don't care. I don't care how you feel about me. And if that seems to be some effect, people can. You don't have to watch it. I've had a couple videos now that people who say, "Well, I don't like what you got to say." Well, don't watch it. It's kind of like this. So there's a TV show. They say, "Well, that TV show's vulgar. This TV show's that." Then don't watch it. That movie's just, crazy. They've got too much violence. Don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Why is it that because you don't like it, you've got to tell everybody else it's so bad? Well, fine. That's your right. You've got a right to say it. But don't sit there and, if someone does like it, or someone wants to do it, or someone wants to go, as long as it's not hurting somebody, I don't see an issue with it. And I know that leaves a vague opening for a lot of things. And that's for another conversation. And I'll tell you about it some other time, or if you want to have a direct conversation about something else, I would barely hear it. But I want to thank you for your time, and thank you for watching, and leave a comment, rate, go from there. You have a great day.